Hi everyone, welcome to The Vault, Crown Records Management's digital transformation podcast series. My name is Kevin Widdop. I'm one of the digital transformation consultants within Crown's consultancy division. And on today's show is Ian Dudley, IT Director of DriveTech UK, the UK's largest provider of driver offender retraining courses. Welcome to the show, Ian.
Hi, Kevin.
Ian boasts a 20-year record of team leadership, delivering technology change, IT and digital strategies. Ian, in your role as head of IT at DriveTech UK, the world leader in fleet risk and safety management, of course, what's keeping you up at night?
Well, I've only been at DriveTech for a couple of months, so I'm still kind of in discovery mode. But if you move beyond, every IT director worries about will the service be on, will the services go down, KPIs, SLAs and all that kind of stuff. But then, you get used to that, that's the job, so it doesn't keep me awake. When I think about stuff that would actually give me more concern, it is how the market is changing because of new technologies and digital. So new startups that are automating things and delivering things cheaper, to be blunt. They're putting automated systems in, so what used to be resource heavy solutions are now becoming automated solutions, and that drives the price down. And at the same time, customer expectations are rising constantly. Everyone is used to having very rich experiences on their smartphones in their personal life, and that's driving expectations of what you as a company and you as an IT function need to deliver. So in many areas you're seeing the money that you can charge for a service going down, but the expectations of what you deliver going up. And there's a big crunch there that if you can't get ahead of that, there'll be trouble down the road. So that's what worries me about, to be honest, almost any business, is how's that crunch going to affect us in the coming years.
Excellent. So I read on your LinkedIn profile last night, you talk a lot about how IT drives competitive advantage. There must be many an IT director out there who must be requesting budget only to be told by the business, you can't have it, there's no clear business case. Now, I understand why that is, but how have you harnessed IT to drive that competitive advantage and really get IT transformation projects over the line within the business?
Well, I think actually the question contains the answer, which is when an IT director is being told you can't have budget because you don't have a business case, that's right. We shouldn't have money if you don't have a business case. Something that a lot of people in IT lose sight of is the reason we exist is to support the business, to allow the business to sell more, to earn more revenue, to earn more profit, to be a successful business. That's why everybody is in a business. Businesses that don't make money don't survive. So everything that everybody does in a company should in some way feed into that objective. So if you're trying to get budget to do something in your IT function, it has to have a business reason. It has to deliver benefits. It has to reduce risk. It has to make operations more effective. And you need to understand that. And that's how you can really deliver change, is to understand not what can the technology do, but what will the technology allow the business to do? Because that's where you can go talk to an MD or an FD or anybody else and say, if you give me £500,000 to put this system in, I will deliver a solution to you that will make you cost savings or allow you to access new markets or allow you to release new products or make you more profitable. And then it's a return on investment question, which every MD and FD will understand. And they'll go, okay, well, that system pays for itself in 3 years. Yes, we'll have some of that. Thank you very much. And here's the investment. Or they'll say, actually, it's a nice idea, but the ROI isn't quite high enough, so we're not going to give you the budget, but thanks for coming to us. And they won't then expect you to deliver those things, so you don't get into that horrible crunch that many IT departments get into, being asked to deliver all the stuff without having any of the money. You've got to have, you either have both or you have neither. So the advice is absolutely to understand what is it that your technology is going to do. You don't do projects because of technology. You do projects because of what the technology will do for the business.
Are there any anecdotes, Ian, that you can give us an overview of that can really tease that out for our audience of IT practitioners, records managers, and everyone in between?
Almost every project, because this is the essence of what makes projects work. And interestingly, it's also a great way of seeing which projects you shouldn't do. The example that I come to many times is CRM systems. I've many times had a salesperson come to me and say, we need a CRM system. We've got to have a CRM system. I go, okay, yeah, we can deliver a CRM system. What's it going to deliver for you? Oh, well, we're just going to have one. Every company's got a CRM system. You can't sell without having a CRM system. Okay, so what's it going to do to increase our sales? Will you do a 10% increase in your sales next year? And they go, well, I'm not sure I'd want to sign up for that. Okay, well, you make more profit on each of your sales next year. Well, I wouldn't want that in my budget targets. Okay, so what you're saying is we're going to spend a lot of money to give you a CRM system and you're going to sell the same amount for the same profit. So why would we do it? It doesn't make any difference. And they get a bit uncomfortable at that point. But then you can get into a structured conversation. So you can start talking about, okay, if you've got a field sales fleet who are going around visiting customers and you want to put in a good CRM tool that's going to look at their patch, look at all their customers and give them route planning and give them the most efficient way to do a routine visit to all their customers. Well, because you're now traveling more efficiently, instead of seeing 5 customers a day, you're now going to see 6 customers a day. So for the same amount of resource, you're going to get a 20% uplift in the number of customers that you see. Well, that should feed through to more sales, shouldn't it? And that's where it makes sense. And that's where you then say, okay, well, if we get a 20% uplift in sales, the return on investment on the CRM system is X months or years. It's very, very easy to sell a system that way. But when you're selling a system on the, well, we've just got to do it because, that's the cases that are much harder to sell.
Thanks so much for that overview. To some extent, this leads into my next question, which is all about digital transformation. On a previous episode, one guest described any organisation where IT reports into the finance director as not being ready for digital transformation. First of all, what's your view on digital transformation readiness?
I think part of the problem with digital transformation and whole digital subject is it's such an immensely broad topic. Because it's not one singular technology, it's not one thing that is happening that is transforming businesses. It is a multitude of things that are happening. And in fact, in most cases, it's the combination of 2 or 3 of those things that is what's really making the difference. It's, mobile internet connectivity, Internet of Things, drones, a bit of machine learning. When you put all of these things together, you get some really cool autonomous system that can go and do warehouse stock checks. But if you're not in the warehousing business, that's not what digital transformation is for you. If you're in a data company and it's all about your data and your records, maybe cloud-based big data, DLP, that's your digital transformation. Completely different set of technologies, but they all come under this umbrella of digital transformation. So I think a big part of being ready for digital transformation is actually having an understanding of what it means to your business. Because there's a million salespeople out there trying to sell you digital solutions, and every single one is trying to sell their digital solution, because of course they are. You have to understand what's the one that's right for you. And it comes back to, again, what is it that matters to your business? How will you deliver benefit to your business? And then finding technologies, that particularly innovative technologies, that could really feed into that.
Excellent, fascinating stuff. And what does successful digital transformation look like from your point of view?
In my view, successful digital transformation and success overall for an IT department is that you become a competitive advantage to your business. Your business will grow faster, sell more, make more profit, be more successful than their competitors because of your technology. A very great many businesses actually, their IT holds them back. It's a very common message that I find when I talk to companies, is that they would love to do more, but their systems can't scale, or they can't expand in the way they need to do, or they can't get the efficiencies in their systems. So their IT is actually holding back their ability to grow and sell and break into new markets, which is, as an IT director, is the worst place you can ever be, because you're the reason the company can't make all that profit. And you need to turn that around. You need to be that your salespeople are out there saying, we're better than the competition, and we're better because of our technology. That's to me, that's what success means. And particularly in this day and age, when every business is infused with technology and there's so much capability and capacity out there, things you could do, if you can tap into that, there's very few businesses who can't make themselves more competitive by the use of technology. And as an IT leader, that's your job, is to find that and deliver it.
Thanks for elaborating on that and painting that really vivid picture. So just over a year on from GDPR now, what's really changed?
I'm not sure. I mean, we've just seen Google hit for a massive fine for GDPR breaches. So I think in terms of the follow-through changes, that's just starting, because they've just gone out with their hunting rifle and they've got the first couple of heads. And it'll be interesting to see how that flows through down the years. But to be honest, the biggest change that GDPR was driving has already happened, which is that so many companies have become compliant. The big story for me with GDPR is not that it is a whole load of new rules and regulations or a whole load of new targets that you have to meet. If you really look at it, the majority of the things that GDPR makes you do aren't actually any different from what the old DPA legislation made you do. There's actually very few differences, except the size of the hammer they hit you around the head with when you don't do it is much, much bigger. And the reality is that in the old pre-GDPR days, there was a lot of companies, especially in the SME sector, that were just ignoring DPA. They were completely ignoring it because it's unlikely they were going to get found out. And if they were, the fines were lower than the cost of compliance. So they just weren't bothering. And the big thing that GDPR has done is it has scared the pants off of chief executives everywhere when they see the size of the fine that they could be hit with. So suddenly they're invested in making these things happen. So I think most of the benefit of GDPR is for companies who weren't compliant to actually get themselves up to a basic level, rather than people moving to some new target that's been set. I don't think that's been the big story here.
It's interesting, GDPR compliance really speaks to this unstructured data headache that is an IT director's worst nightmare, in my opinion. Really, that unstructured data piece is now a route for hackers, cyber criminals to get into the prized personal data estate of any one organisation, according to Forbes magazine. On the big unstructured data problem, how worrying is that for a digital leader such as yourself?
It's always worrying. Increasingly these days, you have got to have good data controls, good data protection, good security, and not just for GDPR reasons. I spend a fair chunk of my life these days with new customers sending me security compliance questionnaires that we have to fill out before they'll do business with us. It is becoming part of the language of business that you have to do these things and do them well. And that's before you even think of the impact if you actually have a breach. Looking specifically at this issue around structured data, I think one of the things that often gets lost in the mix here in the security question is there's usually a reason why people are taking that structured data and putting it into a Word document or an email or something like that. You know, data exists so that the business can use it, and the business has to use it. And too many times in security, people want to lock everything into a safe, bury it in the ground and cover it in concrete so that it's totally secure. And that's great, but no one can use it anymore. So you've actually lost all the point and value of that data. And indeed, you've probably stopped your business from working. And what's necessary is to find the compromise between these two things, because they're always a compromise. You know, maximum security means minimum usability and vice versa. What I think is fascinating is some of the things that's going on in the DLP space, where instead of having a security perimeter around your entire organization, you start putting the security perimeter on the particular document. And this is particularly true in cloud-based document storage solutions. And you say this particular document has got personal sensitive information. This particular document cannot leave the United Kingdom, or whatever other rules you want to put around that. So this particular document can never be emailed. And then your systems enforce those rules on that particular document. So if someone tries to email a document that's not allowed to be emailed, you instead send it as a SharePoint link or, you know, some other cloud storage solution. And then when someone tries to access it, they've got to go and they've got to authenticate, and you check the rules to see whether they're allowed to look at that document. If they're not, they don't, rather than it being something that's ferrying around from server to server in an email system. So that means you've now got the absolute tight control you need over that document. But it means all the other documents that perhaps aren't quite so important aren't controlled so well. So you make the data usable. You allow people to get on with their work and get on with their lives. And this is essential, because if you make the security too oppressive, if you make it too hard, people will just circumvent it. They'll go and print the document and they'll carry a paper copy out. They'll print the document, take it home, scan it, and then email it from their home email address. There is a million ways people will circumvent overly tight security, usually in ways that are far less secure than if they just use the basic systems. So you've got to find that balance point between usability and security, and technology is a great way of bridging that gap.
Excellent. So what's your take on the measures a well-oiled machine should be taking out there to avoid a data breach?
The key thing with security is to be proactive and be secure by design. I actually did a survey of small businesses a few years ago as part of my master's dissertation, looking into what their view of security was and what the reality of their security was. And what I expected to find was that they were all completely oblivious. Actually, most companies were very aware of the security requirements, and they were doing quite a bit of work to meet what they thought it was. But what they were doing is they were following the questions that were being asked of them. So they were following customer audit requirement questions, and they were following certification audit requirement questions, and very specifically putting security in to answer those questions, so it's reactive. And what you ended up with is a jigsaw pattern of security, which was being driven by what question they'd last been asked. And in certain patches it was really, really high, but then you could go 10 feet to the right, no one's ever asked about this thing, and it could be wide open. And that's not how you have to do it. What people should be doing instead is saying, let's design all of our systems to be secure, because security is an end of itself, and then audit requirements and certification requirements and customer requirements is easy. It just flows straight out. It's a paperwork exercise. So you turn the whole equation around. The objective is to be secure, and once you are secure, all of your audits should be much easier, rather than allowing your audits to drive your security processes.
Ian, thanks so much. To find more podcasts like this, please go to thevaults.category/digital-transformation-podcast, or type in digital transformation, The Vaults, to iTunes, and happy listening. I'll see you next time.